All right. So good evening, everyone. My first title is The Power of Understanding the Whole and Its Parts, using a constructivist approach in teaching fourth grade level mathematics in a dual language classroom. Um, uh, I believe most of you are familiar with this because this is one of the title that we actually uh, chose from in Dr. Bevel's class. So I chose to present this one because um, this is also in our campus. I am the one that's I am math. So I work closely with the math coach and the math teachers. So next slide, please, Miss Marianne. All right, so research-based studies show that students who use concrete materials develop more precise and more comprehensive mental representation, often show more motivation and on-task behavior, understand mathematical ideas, and better apply these ideas to life situations. State assessments often require students to solve problems. Therefore, we need pedagogical practices that would provide the necessary skills for students to create their learning by understanding the whole as well as its parts. Okay, so the objectives of this research study are to seek answers to the following questions. What are the different models for teaching through constructivism implemented in teaching fourth grade level mathematics in a dual language classroom in Nathaniel Hawthorne Elementary School? Number two question is, what are the highlights of the constructivism practices that support multilingual students within the grade level curriculum? And number three, how are teachers implementing constructivism practices being inspired to be responsive to their students' needs and adjust their instruction as they learn from their students and each other? And of course, lastly, based on the finding of the study, what changes to the teacher instruction should be made to ensure student success? All right. So for my second title, I have teacher stress and coping during COVID-19 pandemic, a systematic review. Next slide. Research has shown that teachers endure a high level of work-related stress. Amidst the current COVID-19 health crisis, individuals within this profession are experiencing even greater stress levels. It is important to examine everyday stress in teachers and identify effective coping strategies that may help them manage their stress effects. A better understanding of teacher as a unique demographic who may benefit from especially tailored stress management intervention has important clinical and research implications. Next slide. The intent of this research study is to seek answers to the following questions. Number one, how has the perceived work-related stress changed at the onset of COVID-19 pandemic? Number two, what is the extent of the increase of teachers' stress level during the COVID-19 pandemic? And number three, what coping strategies have teachers found helpful during the COVID-19 pandemic? And lastly, based on the finding of this study, what stress management intervention needs to be implemented to help teachers cope with work-related stress? And those are the those are my two proposed titles.
Dr. Rowena, and those are the two title proposal of Ma'am Josie Rivadelo.
Okay, ma'am. Good. Thank you, Ma'am Josie. Ma'am, kindly go back with your presentation from the top, from the first title. The power of understanding the whole, and I can see the ano. Wait, I will.
The power of understanding the whole and its parts using a constructivist approach in teaching fourth grade level mathematics in a dual language classroom.
Okay,
Thank
so
you, Miss Marianne.
okay. Ma'am, we can revise. Maybe we can revise it as a constructivist approach in teaching fourth grade level mathematics in mathematics, and then semicolon. What output do you want to produce, Ma'am Josie?
Okay.
It, it can be a
Ma'am, will
model.
you repeat your?
It can be a model or framework, since in Philippine Christian University, we are encouraging the EDD to have an output of a model, something which is a model. And then for our
Yes.
PhD, the required output that we are introducing is the framework. So I think
Okay.
we're going to think of what would be the best model, right? So
Okay.
as we go along with your title,
Mhm.
we will see to it. We will see which is which would be the best title, which would be the best output in your
Okay.
title. So for
Mhm.
the meantime, so the title should be a constructivist approach in teaching fourth grade level mathematics.
Okay.
Okay, but
Thank you.
semicolon, this is for we're still thinking of what kind of model we will be producing as your output. Okay, it will remain as uh, blank, or we will think of what would be the best output that we can produce or we can do in your research. Okay, so next slide, the statement of the problem.
Okay. Miss Marianne, next slide, please.
Okay, next. No, ma'am,
No,
this statement. Yeah,
the statement of the problem, the first one.
next slide po. Yeah, the objective of this research. What are the different models for teaching? Okay, different models for teaching. So where did you get your question number one, different models? So after you have already the different models in constructivism approach.
Yes, because our fourth grade teachers are using a lot of the STEM scope activities, which are based on the constructivism approach.
Is it a model already, or just an intervention activities, or a series of activities?
It's a series of activities, and it's more on the hands-on. It's a lot of hands-on activities.
Okay, so if it is not a model, so we will change it, the question number one, right, ma'am? So,
Okay.
okay, we will change it. Okay, you're going to think of what would be the best questions number one. So what are
Okay.
the number two, what are the highlights of the constructivism practice that support students within the grade level curriculum? So how are the teachers implementing constructivism practices being inspired? Responsive to your student needs, okay, changes. So maybe, ma'am, we can look for some theories that we can, so that we can have our variables to be used in our statement of the problem, right, ma'am?
Okay.
We can read many theories. By the way, ma'am, may I ask what type or research design you are planning to do?
I'm thinking of doing a qualitative research as well, due to the limited number of respondents.
You're going to use a qualitative. So who are your target respondents?
The fourth grade teachers in our campus. And actually, I'm thinking to actually ask, change that into all our math grade, math teachers. I mean, from K to 5, because in our campus we only have 3 math teachers in 4th grade. So that's very small. So I'm thinking
You
of
only,
changing that to actually.
okay, ma'am. Actually, in a qualitative research, we are requiring at least 5 to 20 respondents. So if you have
Right.
at least 5, if you have at least 5, you can pursue your qualitative research. Your title is good, ma'am. So will just
Mhm.
revise or some of your statement about the problem. Maybe we can
Okay.
read some of the related studies about constructivism approaches po. Actually, here in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines,
Yeah.
we're using also this constructivism approaches. That's why I'm so impressed with your title. Maganda po yung the title itself is very good. So it's really worth to study constructivism approach, ma'am, and practices. So it's really,
Mm-hmm.
we can, maybe some of the researches after you have conducted this research, we, they can use also your research as a reference, especially
Okay.
you will be conducting qualitative, and that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
A qualitative
Okay.
research is really good.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So maybe uh as you go along with your title, you can think of the best output. Anyway, this is just a starting point of our proposal. You can think of
Right.
the best output, but the title itself, it's really good na, the constructivism approach. So yun na lang, ma'am, the output, we will think of
Yeah.
the best. Maybe we can think of a teaching model, di ba?
Yeah. Prof. Rowena,
Po.
when I was writing this proposal, I was thinking of our teachers um who are not so keen in presenting hands-on activities. I'm hoping that our teachers, through the studies, our teachers would be able to provide our students with a more authentic learning through the hands-on activities, or through activism approach that they will um, implement in their classroom.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, you can have a model in which, in that model, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to provide some let's say intervention activities or any other instructional
Okay.
materials to be used by the teacher, so that they can
Mm-hmm.
teach effectively the constructivism approach,
Okay.
something like that,
Okay.
oh, ma'am. And then
Okay.
for your
Thank you so
next
much. Mhm.
okay, for your next topic is maybe this is the best for me, the number 1 topic. Uh,
Mm.
Teacher stress and coping during COVID-19, a systematic review. Actually, we are now in the process of coping with the COVID-19, and I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, the title number 1 would be the best for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay po. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am Josie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Josie, for your presentation. And like again, it's very like I'm learning a lot, and then I think my classmates are learning a lot too from those from those sharing and then from the feedback. And then at this point, I would like to call our next presenter, Mr. Richard Ramos, to present his 2 proposals. Okay, I'm going to
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Good afternoon to those who are in the US, and good morning to those who are in the Philippines. Actually, I'm here located in Beijing, China. So we're the same time as the Philippines. I'm a second grade teacher, and I've been here in China for the past 9 years. Before that, I worked for 6 years back in the US also. So yeah, if Mom Josie is already anxious. I think I'm very, very anxious about what I'm going to present. But again, my experience is based on being here in China. Like the rest of the world is already going back and coping with COVID-19. Here, we're still doing online teaching because of the number of cases, because of the COVID-19 zero policy. So yeah, if I may present, Miss Mary Ann, could you please proceed to the next one? So the title of my first uh, the first title is Online Parent Teacher Conference in an Elementary Bilingual Education Setting, Advantages and Disadvantages. Actually, one of the things that we've been doing for the past 3 years is that we've been using online parent teacher conference due to the restrictions of COVID-19 here in Beijing, China. So to maximize the protection of the school's community and those protocols, the school provided online services for both students and parents. So according to the recent epidemic prevention and control requirements here in China, schools who are currently under close management need to hold conferences online. So that's the whole thing here. So what we do is we use different platforms. We use platforms such as there's one in WeChat, in WeCom. We also use platforms for Teams, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom also. So this research is designed to gather information about the advantages and disadvantages of online parent-teacher conference for both teachers and parents. So this research would like to answer the following questions. So what are the benefits and drawbacks to parents attending the parent-teacher conference online regarding their experience, the connection problems, location, those things. The second question will be for teachers. What are the benefits and drawbacks in preparing as you prepare because you're going to do it online and administering parent-teacher conference to parents online. So there's different ways the teachers prepares it. Some prepares videos, some prepares a portfolio, some prepares using PowerPoint. So it's different preparation compared to if you are offline doing parent-teacher conference. Yeah. And then if I may proceed with my second second title would be elementary students' perception of student-led conference in a bilingual setting. So one of the things that we also do here for grades 3 to 5 in our elementary school is we have the student-led conference. Actually, there was a time that we were offline, so students were able to do the student-led conference. I mentioned bilingual setting because again here in China, most of our students are actually Chinese. So some of them, their English level varies, and then not all parents also understand English. That's why I mentioned the bilingual setting over there. Yeah. So if I may proceed with the next slide, please. Okay, so the statement of the problem is the research is designed to gather evidence on the perception of elementary bilingual students at Beijing International Bilingual Academy regarding the student-led conferences. Yeah, so student-led. So it's the students who are leading the conference. The teacher is there, the student is there, the parent is there. So specifically, we seek to answer the following question: how much time do students spend to prepare for the student-led conference? For grade 3s, for grade 4, for grade 5 students, which part of the student conference were they engaged the most? And then, because usually the conference will last for 30 minutes. Actually, it's 20 to 30 minutes. So what are 3 things they can improve about their student-led conference? And then what is one thing they would like to change about the student-led conference? So those were the 2 topics that I have in mind, being in a elementary school setting. Thank you so much po.
Thank you so much, Sir Richard. And then, Ma'am Rowena, those are the two topics proposed by Mr. Richard Ramos.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Mary Ann. Thank you, Sir Richard. So can we go back with the first statement, first title? Okay, online parent teacher conference in an elementary bilingual education setting, advantages and disadvantages. Actually, this is a very good topic, Sir Richard. Same with the other topics. This is a very good topic for your present situation there in China. So I think, may I suggest if we can change the term advantages and disadvantages as a SWOT analysis. SWOT, the strength, the weaknesses, and the opportunities and the threat, so that it will be you can target everything about online parent teacher conference as advantage. So you have the strength and weakness, the disadvantages, and you can see also the opportunities and the threat in this online parent teacher conference. Maybe we can we can in this way a SWOT analysis on online parent teacher conference in elementary bilingual education setting. Anyway, this is just a proposal. No, so during your once you have conducted the actual dissertation writing, and it will depend on your advisor also. But I think for me, so to make it a better title, so we can use a SWOT analysis, and I think this is a qualitative research, right? Qualitative, tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. Can be both. Can
Yes,
be
yes. So
qualitative
that's
and
good.
quantitative.
Yeah, that's good. And I have a lot of examples of this qualitative research in which there is an analysis on the strength and weaknesses, and maybe I can if I will be your professor again or in dissertation writing, I can help you in doing this. So because it's really timely, this online parent teacher conference, and maybe this would be a great help for your teaching there in China. Is there still pandemic there
Yes,
in
ma'am.
China?
Actually, it's actually growing. We broke the history regarding the number of cases. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah, there's just different things that are happening here right now. So far, they were recently they opened some of the establishment. Regardless, I think they're moving towards making it open, but still there's still this restriction. So it's a mix
Okay.
ideas pa rin po and opinions. Yeah. But ma'am, when you mentioned po yun the SWOT analysis with regards to the title, does that have to be abbreviated or it has to be
It's
or like
okay. A SWOT analysis. It's okay. The SWOT analysis. Okay lang yun. No need
okay,
to
yes.
we will for your statement of the problem, kindly go back with your statement of the problem. Okay, what are the benefits? And actually we can just have some additional questions with regard to your statement of the problem based on the SWOT analysis that we're going to use. So basically, the questions here are all good benefits, and but we will separate the benefits. We will separate the drawbacks, or we will the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threat, so that we can analyze one by one the experience on online parent teacher conference, and one thing is, what would be your proposed output? What do you think is the best output?
Actually, I'm not really sure with that since you mentioned. At first, I was just thinking of qualitative way, but
Qualitative.
yeah.
Yes,
But
okay. This is really a qualitative. So maybe as we go along with your research, we can find out what would be the best. Siguro you may just think of what would be your possible output, what would be your, after you have studied the SWOT analysis, what would be your great contribution, di ba? That is the output of your study. What would be your great contribution for this for these schools, or for those students and parents who are using the online parent teacher conference, and even for the teachers who are using this kind of platform, this kind of learning modality, the online parent teacher conference. Is it can you explain with me what is this online parent teacher conference?
actually, what happens po is like, yeah, basically, like the usual parent-teacher conference that we're having, like about 20 to 30 minutes, where we actually have a portfolio that we show to the parents. We show them,
Mm,
we gave them feedbacks about how their child is doing in school. The only difference is we do it online because of the pandemic. So what there has to be, we use a platform like Microsoft Teams. And then the only difference for us is, instead of just having those portfolios, we have to make them digital. So actually, the
mm,
workload in a way is heavier for teachers, because we have to. Some will scan them, some will already like prepare them in a PowerPoint. So, and
okay.
then yeah, the limited time also, we want to make sure. Now these parents are also bilingual, meaning we invite another translator sometimes
Ah,
in the
that's
conference. So it
it's
makes it
really
more complicated.
okay. So once you have studied that, you can see that from your from the threat, di ba? From
Yes, ma'am.
the weaknesses, and though from that from the result of that findings in your qualitative research, you can find out na what would be the best solution for that problem, and that would be your output. That would be your greatest contribution in your study. What makes you what makes your research help the parents, the teachers, and the students to come up with a very good model or framework in which you can have a regular monitoring of student progress uh, in a very easiest and systematic way. Depende, it will depend on how, at what would, on the result of your findings, the SWOT analysis of this study. Ano, sir? So we will
Yes, ma'am.
find out. So maybe we can siguro you can just uh, think of the best output as we go along with your research. Ano po? So
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you, Sir Richard.
Thank you po.
This number the number one title is the good one.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sir Richards, for your presentation and for the feedback. And then our next presenter will be Fe Chavez. And I'm going to set this, Ate Fe. She is actually, ma'am, sick today.
Yeah.
And so I'll skip, and there
Okay.
you
I
go.
apologize for my voice. I'm experiencing colds and cough and flu symptoms, but I would like to present the proposed titles and the statement of the problem. So my name is Faye Chavez. I am here in LA. I'm a special ed teacher. I've been here for quite some time. It's been quite journey, but I'm okay. Okay, so the first title that I have, Mary Ann, if you can please change it, is social and emotional foundation vis-a-vis academic performance, a basis for ASL program at Santee Education Complex and other public schools in LAUSD. So the statement of the problem, according to the Committee for Children, a nonprofit organization known for its innovative social emotional curriculum, socio-emotional learning is the process of developing the self-awareness, self-control, and interpersonal skills that are vital for school, work, and life success. SAL provides a strong foundation for students to successfully adapt to the abrupt change in the school environment, most especially during the COVID pandemic, which actually until now, some of our students are still experiencing. I guess even myself right now has COVID, but I was negative. Anyway, in this research study, I would like to find out what are the different SAL program being implemented at our school, Santee Education Complex, and other schools in Los Angeles Unified School District, specifically for freshman students, and how effective these programs are based on students and faculty members' perspective. This problem matters because not all schools in the state district consider the implementation of SAL programs for students. The research topic is very relevant, especially now that we're still experiencing the effects of the pandemic. The materials, I will conduct an electronic survey and a hard copy for both faculty and students of the concerned school. And these are the questions that will aim to answer: how does COVID-19 affect the socio-emotional learning of freshman students at Santee Education Complex and other selected public schools in the district? The second question is, what are the SAL programs being implemented in those schools? How effective are SAL programs in the academic performance of the freshman student of Santee Education Complex? And what does that look like in the curriculum, instruction, assessment, and climate? I will conduct a survey or questionnaire among freshman high school students to assess how students are affected by COVID-19 socially and emotionally. For the second title, this one, transitioning from online teaching to face-to-face teaching at Santee Education Complex. This is just like, this is a this is actually like gonna be my original one, because I'm going to make an assessment. Remember how before we are face to face, and then with the COVID we resorted to the online, and then this one is the abrupt change again from face to face, from online to face to face. So here is the questions. Bunso, kindly change. Mary Ann. So these are some of the questions that I would like to um, answer. So the onset of pandemic COVID-19 in March 2020 dramatically affects the globe, not only its health and socioeconomic sector, but more importantly, education. During this occurrence, the United States of America, or all the world, or government forbids face-to-face teaching in most, if not all, the country's state, including Santee Education Complex, resorted to online instruction. At this time, almost all schools are back to face-to-face learning. Hence, this research aimed to find how students and staff are adjusting from online to in-person instruction. This research will discuss the challenges of the abrupt change from online teaching to in-person. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. This one is not supposed to be there, but it should. So these are some of the questions or the aims. Identify some instructional strategy that will promote the active participation of the face-to-face learner. Will teacher and students become familiar with a strategy that teachers are going to use at this time, from online to face-to-face, and identify the advantages of the face-to-face learning from the online based on the perspective of Santee students and faculty members. This topic is very relevant because we are still experiencing the aftermath of the pandemic. So for the third, I have actually three. So the third one is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the Sante Education Complex graduation and dropout rate. The Los Angeles Unified School District public schools are still struggling the effects of COVID-19 pandemic's consequences, the increase of dropout rate, and the decrease of the graduation rate. The pandemic drastically interrupted and disrupted millions of students regarding their learning development and access to education. Most of the affected population were low-income and disadvantaged learners due to the lack of access to the device and internet and the language barrier and technological skills. For this research topic, I would like to answer the following question. How big is the impact of pandemic on the graduation and dropout rate of Sante Education Complex? How does the Sante administration prepare their school and teachers when crisis like COVID arises? And number three, what programs and how effective is the implementation to reduce the students who will drop out and increase the graduation rate based on the students and teachers' perceptions? The research topic is very relevant, especially now that we are still experiencing the pandemic due to the limited time and accessibility to the materials. I will conduct an electronic survey and hard copy for both Sante Education Complex and other public schools in the district. Thank you. Those are the three proposed titles that I came up with. Thank you for listening.
Hi, Dr. Ramirez, and then that is the presentation of Manfred Chavez. There are three titles that she proposed for the research.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, pa.
Yes, ma'am, Mary Ann.
Hi
Ma'am, who's
po.
the proponent? I can't hear her voice. It's too,
You were not able to hear me,
Ma'am
po?
Mary Ann.
Yes po, her
I
name
can't
po is
hear the
Ma'am Fe Chavez. Fe Chavez.
Okay, ma'am. I can't hear here. Have you heard her voice, ma'am?
Yes po.
Do you want me to, can you hear me, ma'am? Prof. Ramirez, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am Fe.
Do you want me to
So,
repeat it?
no, ma'am. Yeah, I will just read your the title. Ano?
Oh,
Uh,
okay. I'm
so,
sorry.
you're the title number one. Actually, I want this title number one, the social and emotional condition
Me too. I like that one too, ma'am.
vis-a-vis academic performance. So you're going to see the relationship and the effect of the social and emotional condition of students with their academic performance, right? Am I right, Ma'am Fe? We're going to find out the relationship of these two variables, the dependent and dependent variables, social and emotional condition, and
Yes,
the
ma'am.
academic performance
Yes, ma'am.
vis-a-vis academic performance.
Yeah. It's like,
Okay, so
how does
actually
that,
I like this number one title, ma'am.
thank
I
you.
like this number one. So may I see the statement of the problem? Kindly go back with the please turn into the
I can read it one more
statement of
time
the
to you,
problem.
ma'am. I'm sorry, I'm really sick right now. That's why probably you were not able to hear me. But I can read it one more time if you want, ma'am. You want to read it
Okay,
one more time?
ma'am.
Ma'am Rowena,
So-
can you hear Ate Fe clearly po or very light lang po?
Can you hear me? Would you like me to read it one more time,
Ma'am,
ma'am?
it's so I can't hear.
Except very light,
I
Ate
can't-
Fe.
I'm not sure why.
So if not, Ma'am Rowena, I can help her out to read the four statement of the problem po.
For this one.
So how does COVID-19 affect the
I-
socio-emotional learning of freshmen students in at Sante Education Complex and other selected public schools in the district. What are the SEL programs being implemented in the schools? How effective are SEL programs in the academic performance of the freshman students of Sante Education Complex? What does that look like in the curriculum, instruction, assessment, and climate?
Okay, Ma'am Fair,
Yes,
my
ma'am.
question is it, what kind of research would you like to study? Is it a qualitative or a quantitative?
I was about to do both, but whatever you will suggest, ma'am, I will do it.
Ma'am, I think the best for this is quantitative, because we're going to see the relationship of their of their social and emotion, what's that? Social and emotional
Foundation.
learning
Yeah.
of freshman students and their academic performance. I think the best research design is the quantitative. How many students do you have, ma'am?
Well, the average is 190, but I'm targeting actually the whole freshman in our school.
Yes, ma'am. So that's good, ma'am. Okay, that's good. So as we go along, we will just have a good statement of the problem for that. So for today, you just you just have related studies and literature with regard to social and or social emotional learning of freshmen, and then excuse me. And we will see what would be different variables to be used in your statement of the problem.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am?
Okay.
So, ma'am, okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I think the best title is the number one title, ma'am.
I
Okay.
like that one too, ma'am. Thank you so much, classmate. Ma'am, is that okay if I'm going to leave? I'm really sick.
Ma'am, I can't hear.
Oh,
Ma'am Mary.
She's about to leave po because she is really sick po. She's experiencing flu right now. So that's why she asked permission for her to leave. And
Okay, so I think this number 2, transitioning from, actually this is also good. The next title, number 2, is also good. So I think number 3, no, let's focus with title 1 and 2. But for me, the best is the title number 1.
Okay po. That's what I like too, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Title number 1. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank-
Ma'am Fair, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Get
Dr.
well din po.
And
Fine.
thank you. Get well soon, Ate Fair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then at this point, Mom, I'm going to present mine because by 6 p.m. I will have to attend. So we have like I have to attend for like it's a non-profit like organization near our like house po, and we're going to like meet the consul po in Los Angeles from Los Angeles po.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I'm going to go with Ate Fe, but she cannot make it to the event because she is sick.
How many
So
how many
we
presentation do we still
we
have?
still have about six presenters.
And Marianne, if you want, when you finish, I can, if you made me host, I can continue with the presentation.
Oh, thank you, Mom Anna. I will really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, Dr. Rowena, so here are the 2 topics that I would like to propose for this research. First, I'm going to give you the background information of my like what I'm teaching and then the school that I'm teaching. So I'm a biology, academy, and ELD 3 teachers from La Vista High School. La Vista High School is a special school because it is the only continuation high school in Fullerton School District. So we we are working at the high risk students, at risk students of not graduating on time. So the way that our school operate, instead of like earning credits for a semester, so we are working in like a quarter, and then each students they have like a different like program, and then they have their individual education plans. So and for this year, like our school, actually for the past 3 years, our school focused on like four trends that uh, trained us to become a better educators for the type of students that we are working with. So we have the school introduce us the 12 best practices that they want to see in every classrooms, in every teachers, and they even like hired a company, Elevated Achievement Company, to train all the teachers. We also have like trainings, like rigid trainings for technology, and then introduce different technologies in the classroom. And then every time that we completed those trainings, we receive like badges, and of course like bonus like gift cards like those. And then we also have like the trauma informed training, because most of our students they have like they weren't able to be successful in their school, in their comprehensive high school, because they experience trauma. So all the teachers, so we have the trainings on trauma informed instruction. And then we also have we change also our structures of our professional learning community, because before we are focused only on like we do our own thing. But now we change that. We have the PLC, and making sure that each department, each grade level, each subject, so we have like a cohesiveness with regards to the use of like academic language, and then how we grade our students. So, and it's really like works really well. Like we saw like a lot of like changes on the performance of our students, as well as the increase in the graduation rate of our school. So with that long background, here are the two topics that I selected. So the first one is the La Vista High School's 12 best instructional practices and its impact to students' ownership of learning. So again, our students are at risk of not graduating because they don't have the student ownership of learning. So increasing student ownership become the main goal of La Vista High School in implementing the 12 highly instructional practices for the past 5 years, which include the 4 areas of focus: the curriculum, instruction, assessment, and climate. So according to Hattie, so Hattie is a great influence to almost all of us at La Vista. According to Hattie's barometer of influences on learning, so these strategies, if implemented correctly or properly, it will give 2 to 3 years academic growth in school. So below are the 12 best instructional practices being implemented at La Vista High School, and these 12 best practices, so those are backed up by theories and like proven by like different studies. So one of that is under the curriculum, having the daily learning objectives. Number 2, integrated approach or conceptual redundancy. And number 3, curriculum materials matches objectives. And for the instruction, we focused on the structured students to student communication. So it's more on like student-centered learning environment, effective instructional strategies, and instructional time use efficiently. For the assessment, so we selected like 3, and those are monitor current understanding and feedback, monitor current understanding and adjust as needed, and differentiate based on predetermined needs. And then for the fourth factors, focus is the climate. So we need to establish a respectful academic environment, cooperative academic environment, and collaborative academic environment. And this research aims to answer the following questions. And sorry, for some reason, all the questions start with the house. How the 12 best practices looks like in a classroom, how the school support the teacher in implementing the 12 best practices, how the 12 practices guide the teachers in improving his or her instructions, and how the 12 practices impact students' ownership of learning. And that requires a lot of modification, I know. So now I'm going to proceed to the next topic. And I love all the fours, but for some reason I selected the evidence-based impact of professional learning community, or PLC, at La Vista High School's curriculum, instructions, assessment, and climate. Those are my wonderful colleague right here in the picture. The picture has a permission to post this. So here's my statement of the problem for my second topic. So the research aimed to gather evidence on the effect of the professional learning community at La Vista High School. Specifically, we seek answers to the following questions. PLC impact on the teacher who are part of the PLC. What is the impact of the PLC on the climate, instruction, curriculum, and assessments among teachers and students? How does the school conduct the PLCs among its teachers? How does the teacher perceive the effectiveness of PLC among their department and learners? And what data sources will show the positive impact of PLCs in my school? And Dr. Ramirez, those are the two topics that I would like to propose, but my first love is the first one.
Actually, ma'am, the title,
Yes.
12 Best Instructional Practices. So you're your goal is you're going to assess the impact of these instructional practices to the student ownership of learning. You're going to assess its impact, its effect.
Yes. Yes.
So how are you going to assess its impact?
So for my research, but I think I would like to go over with all those best practices and then get the data by having survey for the teachers if they will really implement the 12 best practices in the school. And then the second part is that surveying the students on how these 12 best practices that the teachers provided to them help them to take ownership of their learning.
Okay, so meaning to say, so if you're going to have a survey on the use of instructional practices, so there is one variables that you must use in order to know its impact. And how did you get that impact? In what particular, let's say, academic performance, or what kind of
so I'm thinking po that aside from the response of the students, I would like to compare the performance of the students, the before and after we implemented the 12 best practices po. So it will show that it really helps the students, because we have a different examinations, a test for students po. And
I think
and the graduation rate, I can also show the graduation rate of our students, or the number of credits that they earned before the 12 best practices implemented, and then the after.
So meaning to say, you want to have the experimental research design. Tama. Okay, so if that would be your decision of having this title number 1, you will be using the experimental. Actually, that is a quantitative research design, which is an experimental research design, in which you're going to have the pre-test and the post-test. Pre-test, and then there are a control and there are control and experimental group that you're going to experiment. And then we're going to conduct the pre-test and the post-test, and then you will see what's the impact of these instructional practices with your student if you're going to use the title number 1. Actually, I will go with the title number 2. The title number 2, I want this number 2, Ma'am Mary Ann. Patingin niya, okay. This is really good. Evidence-based impact of professional learning community at La Vista High School's curriculum, instruction, assessment, and climate. What kind of research design you are planning for this title number 2?
It's the same thing po, the before and after. like I'm going to survey the students and the teachers in our school for the
Okay.
before, like the based on their experience before
So,
we implemented
yes,
the PLC and then the after.
that's a very good topic, ma'am. That's a
Okay.
very good research of conducting a quantitative experimental research design. Good luck, Ma'am Mary Ann. I'm looking forward for this very good topic. You can use both in an experimental research design. You just decide what would be your the which is the best for you, the one or two, but you can, these two topics are both good. Okay.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Mary Ann.
Okay. And then at this point po, I'm going to pass to Ma'am Anna, the presenting the remaining of my classmates' presentation. And then I think it's Ma'am Angie who will be the next Ma'am Anna. Or
Okay, thank you,
okay.
Ma'am Mary Ann.
Thank you so much. And Ma'am Anna, I'm going to make you as the host
Yes.
this time. Okay, thank you so much.
Let me share my screen. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so let me go to the presentation, and Miss Angie, you are going to be presenting now? I think I saw.
Yes, Ma'am Anna.
Okay. Let me go down. Angie, here you go. Let me all right, so let me there you go. We're ready. We're recording.
I think you're muted, Ma'am Angie.
I'm sorry. Good evening and good morning, everyone. These are the two titles that I'm proposing. I want to apologize ahead of time because this is my first time doing research in this formal way, and I have no experience. So I did my best, and I'm willing to learn from the professors and from everyone else. But here I go. My first proposal is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on Texas early elementary grades, specifically in reading skills. And my job at this time is I'm an educational diagnostician. So I test students who are referred for special education. And after COVID, I've seen such a decline in the basic reading skills that I feel compelled to take a look at it and see if I can explain it in some way that it's understandable for parents and teachers. So if we can go to the next slide. So the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the teacher learning process as it was known for hundreds of years in Texas, and I guess all around the world as well. Schooling was stopped in its tracks for several days, and when it began again, it was completely different than what teachers and students knew. Virtual programs were implemented on the go, gathering and delivering technological tools as fast as possible, modifying and or creating curriculum and putting it in place simultaneously. Basic reading skills are extremely important in the early grades, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And this research will focus on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in the sensitive area of development of basic reading skills. The research aimed to answer the following questions. What are the basic reading skill levels at the end of pre-pandemic period, which is 2018-2019 in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade? What were the basic reading levels at the end of the first year of the pandemic, 2019-2020? in the same areas, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade? And what were the basic reading levels at the end of the second year of the pandemic, 2020 and 2021? In the same areas, again, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. Question number 4, what is the correlation between the basic reading skill levels in these 3 years? And number 5, which basic skills were mostly impacted during these school years, and what recommendations can be made to improve the affected areas? The second title is Secondary Student Perception of Vocational Education. And for this one, I've seen a lot of students that are graduating from high school but have no idea of which way they want to go, what other careers they want to pursue. And some of them are even dropping and not going to college and not enrolling in any other type of career. So the central focus of the present study is to examine the relationship between the student personal factors such as gender, race, academic performance, career awareness, and socioeconomic factors, and the perception of secondary schools students regarding vocational education. The primary research question is, are there differences in secondary students' perceptions of vocational education based on gender, race, academic performance, career awareness, and socioeconomic factors? These are the 2 titles that I'm proposing. So I would really appreciate your feedback.
Dr. Ramirez, did you hear Ms. Angie?
Hello, ma'am. Good morning, Ma'am Angie. Is it Ma'am Angie?
Yes.
Ma'am Angie, you are from what the country, ma'am?
I'm originally from Honduras in Central America, but I'm currently working in the United States in Dallas, in Texas.
You are working as what particular job, ma'am?
An educational diagnostician. What I do is, when here in the United States, when they feel that students are failing and they have greater concerns regarding their if they have a disability that would be impacting their performance in the school, they send them to me for evaluation. So I do cognitive testing and achievement testing to make a determination as to if they meet criteria for special education or not. So I do evaluate the reading areas within the achievement component of the evaluation.
Okay. So, ma'am, kindly go back with the title number 1. Sorry, I have a very dry cough. I can't talk very clear.
No, we can understand you very well. And I do relate. I was sick 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
The title of number 1 is the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Actually, ma'am, the COVID-19 pandemic there in Texas is still inactive, the COVID-19 pandemic.
I know there are cases, but it's not like we are not locked down or we are not virtual anymore. We are back into the schools.
Okay.
So I want to look at what happened to the reading skills for these kids who were virtually for an entire year mainly.
Okay. So you want to, your main objective is to see what happened to the reading skills of the students after this COVID-19 pandemic, ma'am. Am I right, po?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we can revise this as the impact on the reading skills. The impact on the reading skills.
Okay.
Of of Texas early. Wait, ma'am. The impact of reading skills. The impact on reading skills of what particular grade, ma'am?
Kinder through second grade.
Okay. The impact of reading skills. The impact of reading skills. The impact on reading skills of kinder to second elementary grades po.
Okay.
Okay.
So the impact on reading skills of kindergarten through second grade of the elementary grades.
On COVID-19 pandemic.
On COVID, okay.
Okay. So actually, ma'am, okay, next slide po. Actually, I really like your the art of questioning, the art of presenting your statement of the problem. So you want, ma'am, in this type of statement of the problem, you want to correlate or you want to see the status of the reading skill level of the students from 2018 to 2021. You want to have a correlation or a comparison between and among the basic reading skills levels in kindergarten to second grading in these 3 executive school years. Am I right, ma'am?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So what would be your suggested output after you have studied the impact of this reading skill levels?
To determine which of the basic skills were mostly impacted and what can be done to remediate them.
Okay. So meaning, ma'am, you must think of some maybe variables in basic reading skill levels in which we can see on what is the particular level of reading skills they are in each level. Say for example, in what particular level of reading skills? Say for example, in kinder, are they in a frustration level? Are they independent level? Are they in, here in the Philippines, we have different level of reading. I do not know if it is also in your particular place. We have the frustration level, we have the independent level, we have the instructional level. Is
Yes,
it the same?
we have some levels, yes.
Okay, so we will try to find out in what particular level of the students what are they now in that particular level, and then we will find out what would be our greatest contribution. Say for example, in your research in school year 2018-2019, there are greater number of frustration level, di ba, in kindergarten, and then in 2019 to 2020 increasing the frustration level increase, and then in 2020 to 2021 also increases. So meaning to say there is a problem in reading skills among students, among kinder or among first grade and second grade. So after we have discovered that there are a lot of problems in the reading skills of the learners, so we must have our proposed output or contribution on how are we going to help them, so that we could able to help them to increase the reading skill level of students. Okay, so in our statement of the problem, we will find out where is in what particular level our kindergarten, our first grade, and our second grade are belong particularly, are they in frustration level? Are they in independent level? Are they in instructional level in each school year? Okay. And
Okay.
then we're going to correlate this reading skill level in these 3 years. We're going to correlate. And we can see out of that correlation on what particular school year we should focus in, so that we can able to give, or we can able to suggest some of the intervention activities, or any contribution that you can contribute for the development of reading skills of our pupils as your output of your study.
Okay.
Did you get me, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as their as your suggested output. So maybe can you get, ma'am, their particular level, reading skill level?
Yes, I can, we have a lot of data
Yes
for
po.
the school districts. Yes.
Okay. So, ma'am, first and foremost, you will get all the data of the pupils, so that we can have the correlation.
Yes.
Okay, and then we will find out also what would be our best contribution as we go along with our research about this reading skill level of our pupils.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this title number 1 is the best for me. The title because you focus with the reading skill level, which is really one of the problems during this COVID-19 pandemic among learners. Even here in the Philippines, we really have a big problem with regards to the reading skills of our pupils. And even they were in a grade 5 or grade 4, 4th grade and 5th grade, they were not able to read. They are slow reader because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay,
Now
so,
that you mentioned that, I know kinder, first and second are the early grades
yes,
for read, but rethinking, would it be better to look at second, third, and fourth grade, for example? Because if they were not in kinder, we're not gonna have data on that.
yes, yes, ma'am. Much better, because this grade, this second grade, third grade, and fourth grade, they were the one who experienced the COVID-19 pandemic itself.
Okay.
That's why there should be your respondents, there should be your participant in your study. Ano
Okay,
pa?
I'm gonna change that then.
Okay. I hope it's clear with you, Ma'am Angie.
It is. But if I have any questions, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to ask questions with me, you can chat, personal message. It's okay with me.